we're going to turn to sort of an interesting story when we talk about the legacy of African Americans in the DMV. I'm really excited to bring on Yola Lewis Dance and Reverend Larry Walker, who have been working really hard on the Montpelier Foundation and the Descendants Committee there. I'm going to ask you all to give us the background of this effort that you all have been involved in so long, and what this community is all about. So thank you for joining us here at Let's Talk.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much for the work that you do to lift up the voice of the African American community in the DC region. We're very grateful for this privilege to share your platform to tell many people in this area, like my family, came to the DC area from Orange, Virginia, and places like Montpelier. And so we're glad to speak to our family here this afternoon. And I'm going to do what I was taught as a child, that ladies go first. So I'm going to let Yola start off Yola is, and I got to set this up for you. Yola is the first African American woman to lead the museum site of a founding era president in the nation. She's the real deal. So I'll let her tell you a little bit more.
Well, welcome, Yola. Please go right ahead.
Yes, thank you, Denise. Thank you for this invitation. And thank you so much, Reverend Walker. I mean, it's been incredible joining the MDC and co-stewardship at Montpelier. I joined this amazing community of people in August of last year. And so much incredible work has gone into telling all American stories. So helping us to understand the history of the Constitution and James Madison, who framed these ideas of freedom, justice, and equality, yet in the same place, 300 documented enslaved people are lived and labored on that landscape. And that descendant community is engaged in telling that story. So in co-creation, we do that work. I am a descendant of enslaved people and the first to serve as president and CEO of a presidential site.
It's amazing. Now help me so that we can it's funny, we do Washington Informal Charities does an annual African American Heritage Tour. And a lot of it is right here in the DMV because there's so much that we don't know about this amazing history that's been untold. So Montpelier is one of those places as well. I mean, some may know where it is, some may not. So give us some landmarks. Tell us what area we're talking about.
So we're talking about Central Virginia. From Washington, if you go, I live in Central Maryland, so I go down out 66 and down 29, and then I make a left at Culpeper and head down 20, and it takes you right into Orange, Virginia. If you go from DC down 95, you would make a right just about Fredericksburg, and that'll take you west into Orange, Virginia. I don't know the road because I don't go that way. But so we're in Central Virginia between Fredericksburg and Charlottesville.
Okay. All right. And go ahead.
I was going to say that was during the colonial era. That was probably one of the most fertile areas of economic development for this emerging nation, and many of the initial presidents and leaders came from that region. When you look at what we call the arc of the area, many came from that area. And so the Montpelier Descendants Committee, while Montpelier is the name and it's the home of the Constitution, we represent descendants of enslaved communities throughout the region of Central Virginia, because we recognize that during that period of enslavement, our ancestors were brought and sold to different people on different plantations. My fourth great grandfather, Benjamin McDaniel, was enslaved by James Madison at Montpelier. His wife, Patsy Pierce, and their children were enslaved at another neighboring plantation. So we represent descendants from the region, not just Montpelier proper.
It's an amazing story, and maybe might be on our list of places to go this year. Well, tell me about the memorialization project. What is that? Eola?
In co-stewardship, we are supporting the MDC and bringing together descendants to help inform the opportunity for not only our regional community, but our national and international community to come to the place where these ideas of liberty were born and ask difficult questions and honor and remember those who were buried there. So we know of 300 enslaved people who were documented at Montpelier. However, there are several burials on site, and that is a sacred space. And so this memorial will honor and remember those who were buried in that sacred space. And it's a real opportunity for contemplation, reflection, and we hope for healing as well.
So what will the memorial be? Is it a statue? Is it a building? Is it a museum? What is it?
Yes, great question. So we are working on that now. Our memorialization committee, led by a resident of the DMV, Henry Anglin, as the chair of that committee, they are working through the concepts of what that'll be. Now, our grant, the $5.8 million grant from the Mellon Foundation, is for us to build a structure, a memorialization structure on property. But our vision is far more than just a structure. Our vision is not only this structure that we're going to build is going to be informed by descendants and community. We are looking for firms right now, architectural firms, preferably African American firms, or firms with a good mix, because we want to be diverse, but we want to look out for people who have a cultural understanding of what we're trying to accomplish in honoring the sacred ground that our ancestors lay under. And so as we continue this development process and build out, our goal is in the next 2 years that we will have a structure on property, and then begin the fundraising. Well, not then. We're working on fundraising now to add even more, to build even more and bigger, so that this is an educational opportunity, not just a place for me to go and sit and reflect, but also for people to come and learn about the role and the contributions of those who were ignored in history books till now, the contributions that they made to the foundation of this country.
You know, I've been to. I'm a big fan of. I love Black history. I love our history, and no matter where I go, I try to find places to visit. And the times that I've been to plantations, they always have the house where the slave owner lived, and they can tell you all this, and they mention them as the slave owner, and then they say, yeah, but the slaves lived over there, and it's always a big empty lot. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing there to really memorialize the lives of those people, and sometimes there's cemeteries there that they don't even acknowledge. So right now at Montpelier, is there anything there that memorializes the 300 or so people that once were enslaved there? And I know that you're working to build other projects, but what exists there right now?
As you visit Montpelier, the award-winning exhibition, Mere Distinction of Color, is available, as well as an enslaved community tour of the actual quarters, which was a reconstruction made possible by a generous donation from David Rubenstein. And so as you tour the historic house, the landscape, the exhibit, and the slave quarters, you get an understanding of how people lived, how they contributed to Madison's wealth, how they contributed to the building of America. And what is really important about the memorial is it gives us an opportunity to think about their humanity and restore their humanity. And that will be new. At present, that area is a healthy wooded forest. And we will look into how we can memorialize and commemorate their contributions in a way that's careful and respectful of that landscape, but also honors their memory.
This is wonderful. I mean, my heart is just warmed by what the effort that you all are putting together to do this, and that family members, if I'm not mistaken, Reverend Walker, family members are involved in this. The descendants are involved in this as well. What can you tell us about how you all got together and are supporting this project?
Yes, absolutely. So in 2018, a grant was afforded to Montpelier to bring together academic scholars and museum professionals from across the diaspora to look at how they could position Montpelier differently than other museum sites. And from that, led by the renowned anthropologist, Dr. Michael Blakey, he and many others came up with a document that is called the Rubric for Engaging Descendant Communities. And it is the gold standard for what museum sites around the world now want to turn to engage descendant communities. And so Montpelier knew that they had a museum, a burial ground on property, but following the rubric, they knew that they also should engage the descendant community. So they invited descendants in 2018 to come to Montpelier so that they could tell us about the burial ground. We returned back in 2019, and this happened Juneteenth weekend of 2019, and we established the Montpelier Descendants Committee at that point to be the official organ bringing voice to from the descendant community to the operations at James Madison's Montpelier. And so I currently am the president of the Montpelier Descendants Committee. We use the term MDC, but I also represent the descendants community as a board member on James Madison's, on the foundation board for James Madison's Montpelier. So I sit on the board at the place where my fourth great grandfather was enslaved.
How does that make you feel? I mean, how does that, resonate within you? It's got to be an amazing, experience, but I would love to hear it in your words.
It absolutely is. It's an honor. It's a calling, and it's something that I take with every fiber, because the work that we're doing now I want my fourth great grandchild to look back and see what role I played in, the Sankofa principle says we have to be able to look back before we can really look ahead. And so to be able to go back and bring to life the existence of my grandfather and so many others who made this democracy possible is something in this day and age, with all of the division in the country, I take very seriously, because I think we are establishing a model for the world of what it could look like in America if we truly allow everyone to sit at the table of fellowship and provide guidance for where we're going in the future. And that is something that is not easy to do, because there's a high wind of resistance in the current climate. But we continue to forge ahead, because Eola, all of us here have a freedom that our ancestors didn't have. Wow, and so we continue to forge ahead, and it's a privilege. Thank you for the question.
No, yeah, I want to thank both of you, Reverend Walker and Eola Dans, for being with us today. This is an amazing story. We wish you so much success. And as we are constantly hearing about statutes that are being removed and then what goes in the place of those, and so that we're building our own memorials is just an amazing story. So we want to keep up with what you're doing. Don't be surprised if the Washington Former Charities brings about 3, 4, 5 buses down there.
Please let us know so we can meet you there.
Okay.
I would also quickly say that your guests, your audience, people who want to be part of what we're doing can join us at montpelierdescendants.org or at montpelier.org. Donate. We need your resources. We need support. So come on and help us do the work. Bring your voice.
Well, you've gotten some big grants, but like my daddy used to say, nobody can save us for us but us. And if it is to be, it's up to me. So yeah, if you got, I guess, anywhere from $1 to 25 to 1,000 to whatever, this is definitely something we're supporting. So I hope our folks will reach out.
I thank you. We need operational support. The grants are for a memorial.
Right, exactly.
We need support ongoing. So thank you again.
You're welcome. All right. And you all have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for being with us. All righty.